Let's get ready to rumble!
The gloves are coming off.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable!
We're about to go full court press.
Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan!
It's time to play ball.
Malone looking for his first hit of the year. He drives one! Deep left field! That goes Upton! Back near the wall! It's out of here! Bartolo has done it! The impossible has happened!
Listen in as we tackle everything in the world of sports right now.
Stay off the weed!
Throw your hat in the ring at 516-572-7440. This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's right. Here we go. Wednesday, March 23rd, 4:01 p.m. What is going on, everybody? I am Michael Merlo along with Ross Levine and Joshua Umahi. A smaller crowd today, but that's okay. There's so much to do, as always. As the NFL doesn't leave us without a day of a breaking news of some sort, as we had a massive blockbuster again today, which one of the New York teams was almost involved in. Definitely down to the wire. But guys, how are you doing today?
You know, this time of year, March, is almost usually the best month of the year sports-wise. But the news that we've gotten lately and everything that's been going on, this is like unbelievable. It's like nothing we've ever seen.
We've
All
been
these stars demanding trades and everything.
We've been in for a treat, that is for sure. I mean, you've had, MLB news breaking left and right after they settled the lockout. The NFL free agency, the league year opened up, and there's been massive trades, big-time signings, trades that I don't think we'd ever thought we'd see.
No.
And if you even go back 10, 20, 30 years, you can ask people that have watched football forever, and they don't think they would ever see players of this caliber being moved, because that's just the way things went. Franchise quarterbacks, franchise players were never traded like this in the NFL, and I don't know how to feel about it because we've never seen something like it. But we're going to get into it later, which player is the biggest surprise, we think that's gotten moved. I don't know what the league's going to look like next year. It's going to look a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, it just proves if it's not about contracts anymore. If you want out, you can ask out.
Yeah, contracts mean nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you sign your name on the dotted line. If you want out of a situation, you can get out of a situation.
Do you guys recall, this might have been a few years ago, when player empowerment at the NBA was at its highest?
Yep.
And what the NFL fans were kind of maintaining was, we're never going to let our league get like that, where players have so much power and so much say and so much sway in where they're going to go. Well, we're here now. We just saw two of the league's biggest stars, obviously Deshaun Watson last week, and now out of nowhere, Tyreek Hill just saying, "You don't want to pay me my money, Kansas City? All right, fine. I'll get it somewhere else. I know that."
Tyreek Hill, who had 1 year on his contract left, an extension with the Kansas City Chiefs, he said, "You don't want to pay me," exactly what Josh said. You don't want to give me a new contract that I want. You're going to send me somewhere where that team's going to, and the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins were the two finalists. They had deals agreed upon with both teams to move him. This has apparently been going on for about a week or two now, completely just under a rock somewhere, I guess we've all been. They did a great job of hiding this. The Jets had a deal which included, I think, the 35th pick, the 38th pick, and some pick in the third round in the 60s. That deal was agreed upon. It was just a matter of where Tyreek Hill wanted to go. He and his agent chose the Miami Dolphins. That's where he'll play this year, alongside Jalen Waddle and Tua Tagovailoa.
It's crazy. I mean, between the Jets and the Dolphins, and this is what was so unclear to me when this happened, and it's kind of still unclear because he had Albert Breer tweet that Tyreek Hill had a no-trade clause that, I and I'm sure many other NFL fans had no idea about, but I mean, you take that into account, and it basically, regardless if he had one or not, it became Tyreek Hill's decision. Because if you look at the Jets' offer, right, they offered pick 35, 38, I think another pick in the 60s.
Yes.
And the Dolphins offered, I think, 30. Their first-round pick, which was 28.
Yeah.
Let me look it up. It's in the high 20s.
I know it was in the 20s. It was that first-round pick. It was a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and then another pick, a late-round pick next season. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, you can make the argument that the Jets' offer was better.
If you add up the total value of, like, the Jets' picks and the Dolphins' pick, the Jets had the better deal. I mean, that the Chiefs would have liked better, obviously, but it's up to Tyreek Hill's hands, and he chose Miami. And I know people are criticizing Miami for making this deal because it's not, like, necessarily a win-now situation. So, like, why would you trade a first-round pick, a second-round pick, some picks next year for Tyreek Hill? But, you know, it's the same situation the Jets are in. If you have a young quarterback who you're still kind of unsure on, you need to do everything possible, especially while they're on that rookie contract still, to surround him with pieces and see what he can do. You don't want to leave any doubt about what your quarterback can do when you're in that situation.
Right. Not only trying to win and put the best team on the field as possible, but it's also to develop that younger quarterback, like you said. And when I'm trying to decide whether or not, because there was about an hour and 15 minutes here where we didn't know where it was going to be, the Jets or the Dolphins. There was no favorite. Nobody knew anything other than it was those two teams. And we knew it was going to happen at some point today. So I'm sitting here trying to gauge whether or not this was going to be a good move for the Jets or not if they were to do this, because you would have to have given him an extension of around like he got. I don't think anybody is surprised by the number, which is 4 years, $120 million with about $72 million guaranteed. Nobody was shocked by the number, but people were kind of deciding what were the Chiefs going to get back. Was it going to be similar to what the Packers got back for Devontae Adams? Was it going to be 2 first-round picks, even more than the Packers got for Adams? I had read, right when it broke, the story that the Chiefs were looking for 2 first-round picks. So based off of that, you were going to have to give 2 first-round picks, whether it was a pick this year and then next year, and then the $30 million a year on top of it. Was it worth it for the Jets? And I sat there and I said, if I'm a Jet fan, of course it is. Right. You're getting one of the most electrifying players in the league. It's going to cost you money, sure. You have another first-round pick. You're getting one of the most talented players, not only electrifying, but one of the most talented players, in the game. So 100% I make that move.
If you're a Jet fan and you saw what the Jets' final offer was, and you didn't even have to give up a top 10 pick, but they have 2 of them.
You must be enraged.
Joe Douglas, if he pulled this off, he would have had to put on like a ski mask and some gloves because that's a robbery. He would have robbed the Chiefs blind.
They would have
he pulled that off.
They would have put a statue outside of MetLife Stadium just for pulling off this trade. And he's had great trades. The Jamal Adams trade is fantastic. The fact that he got a couple of picks for Sam Darnold is insane.
Yeah,
he's made very good moves as a Jets general manager when it comes to trades. If he was to pull this one off, man, Jet fans would have went crazy. And listen, the contract would have been the contract. You have younger players. Elijah Moore is on a rookie deal. You have the running back on a rookie deal. Obviously, Zach Wilson on a rookie deal. You have young pieces here, and you would have had your two first-round picks, that could have been 2 defensive players.
Yeah.
You're in a good situation if you're the Jets. You've already rebuilt your offensive line. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost the Jets are at that point, I think, where you have to start thinking about. They wanted Calvin Ridley before that whole thing happened.
Yes.
They wanted a big-time wide receiver, and they haven't been able to get it. Not really all their fault, but I think you're going to see them probably draft one pretty high. If they're in on these guys, they're probably going to draft one.
They feel as though they need one.
Yeah.
516-572-7440. Jet fans, how are you feeling after you tasted it, that superstar, the biggest superstar probably to play for your team in a very long time. You were so close to having him. How do you feel, and how do you want this team to supplement almost getting this receiver? If you had these dreams in mind, I'm sure Jet fans were dreaming. I'm sure they were dreaming of Zach Wilson throwing a pass like a slant route to Hill, and Hill taking it, 85 yards for a touchdown, maybe to get them into the playoffs. I'm sure they were, and I'm sorry to egg you guys on. It's too fun.
Even as a casual fan, and you're weighing when the final teams became the Jets and the Dolphins for Tyreek Hill, and it's like, Tua with Tyreek, you're not really sure. Does Tua have the arm strength to get it downfield consistently? Sure. But him and Zach Wilson would have been something.
If Wilson was to develop into what we think he could be, 100%. But there's no doubt about it. Tyreek Hill is, and I saw this tweet a couple of hours ago. Tyreek Hill cannot come out and say, "Oh, it wasn't about the money."
No.
It was all about the money because you would stay for a couple of $1 million less. And I'm not one to say, "Oh, take less money." I mean, it has to be a really big situation, like a quarterback really trying to win a Super Bowl late in his career. Aaron Rodgers. But he shouldn't take less money, but at the same time, you're in such a great situation. Why leave that to go with two quarterbacks who are completely unproven? Some people think one of them is proven, and the one he's going to play with, and he's terrible. So he's not going to a great quarterback situation, but does he have the ability to bring something out of Tua that we haven't seen before?
It's going to be interesting to watch, and looking at what the Dolphins have done really all offseason, they've really left no excuses, like I said earlier, for Tua. I mean, just look at how their offense looks right now. You have Tyreek Hill, you have Jalen Waddle, Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, who runs a 4.540. Edmonds, they signed that guy Mostert, who's fast himself. Like, they have so much speed on this roster. And that's for a guy with limited arm strength. Like, I watched it with being a Saints fan, Drew Brees. He had his best years with just speed on the field because he couldn't get it downfield that much.
It's a great comparison.
Yeah, so they've really left Tua no choice. Like, you got to perform, or we have 2 first-round picks next season. We might look somewhere else.
We have the roster here. Yeah. We just don't have the quarterback. And if they do, that's a good thing for them because they have the ability. They're not stuck. They could do whatever they can to go get another quarterback. And for the Chiefs, they're gonna have to add a wide receiver to replace Tyreek Hill somehow. I saw MVS, Markling's Valdon Scandling. I definitely botched that. He from the Packers. He was had a meeting with them. MVS, as they call him. He had a meeting today with them. So this is going to be interesting. And on top of it for the Jets, not only do you lose out on Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill's now in your division.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody was thinking the Jets were going to be competing for a division title, but the AFC East is loaded, and it could be loaded for years to come. Again, we talk about the Bills. I think, in my mind, they're the favorites to go to the Super Bowl and win it. The Patriots are the Patriots. They have Bill Belichick and Mac Jones still. And now the Dolphins are a very interesting team. They went 9-8 last season, and it keeps adding to an already loaded AFC.
And it's tough for the Jets because, here's the thing. The Jets are probably not – they're in a rebuild mode for probably a couple of years anyway. They're probably not going to win a whole lot to begin with. So it's not their time yet. You can make that case even without this Tyreek Hill news. And look, it's going to take them some time for the Jets to get back on track and be even a wild card team.
Right, and if you don't even think if they got Hill.
No, they're not a playoff team.
They weren't competing for a playoff spot, but it just would have been the perfect step in the right direction. It would have been a great piece for Zach Wilson to have. You go into this year, maybe they win 7 games, 8 games with Hill, and you know exactly what you need to do next season to possibly get into that playoffs and be a serious contender. And again, what is a loaded AFC. It's going to be very difficult to win in the AFC, whether you're the Jets, whether you're any of these top teams that have added great players or great quarterbacks. So that kind of sucks.
I wonder about the Chiefs. I was about to say I wonder about Mahomes, but he's a great quarterback. He's obviously going to miss Tyreek Hill, but I don't expect much drop off. I think I saw a tweet. Let me pull it up. He's played 5 games without Tyreek Hill. Passer rating of 103, 1,700 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, and 1 pick. So he's performed without Tyreek Hill in the past.
Right.
He's obviously going to miss him for a whole season, but not only do they have to find ways to replace Tyreek Hill, they have the Raiders, who just got Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones. They have a better coach in Josh McDaniels. They have the Broncos, who just got Russell Wilson.
The Chiefs got worse today.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are
significantly too.
A significant loss to their team. They're a worse team in what is already the best division in football. So you're 100% right. Their next move is going to be huge. And it can't come. We talked about it We talked about it yesterday with Devontae Adams and the Packers. The move cannot come just from the draft. It's going to be very unlikely that they're going to get a guy that could be even as half as impactful as Tyreek Hill was on this team. So you're going to have to make a couple of moves to supplement the loss of Tyreek Hill. And I don't even know if that's out there right now. Is MVS? Okay, you add MVS, sure. It almost feels like it's another depth piece to that team. They signed Juju. I'm not excited about that. They don't have much right now on that side, when it comes to weapons. And it's funny because they have Hill and they have a bunch of really fast guys. And they lost Robinson, I think, to the Raiders. The Raiders, right. So they're losing pieces in that wide receiver room, and it's not a good thing.
They're in the same situation now that the Packers are in, where Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill are like really one-of-one guys. Like, you can't just plug and replace them. So it's going to be real interesting to see. Obviously, it's a very wide receiver, deep draft. Maybe you address it there. Jarvis Landry and Odell's still out there, among other guys.
I didn't even think of them.
AJ Green's still out there, so... It sucks to lose Tyreek, but Odell would fit
the Chiefs better than anybody you just named.
Agreed, but again, he just tore his ACL in the Super Bowl.
It also can't be just one guy.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be tough to really, because with the Chiefs, when you have Mahomes, you still have Kelsey, you have Andy Reid. It's going to be title or bust, really, for the entire length of Mahomes' contract.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's going to be. So the fact that we're debating, are they going to finish second, third in their division, as it sits right now, I mean, we still have the draft and plenty more of offseason to go, but I don't know. It's really shaky over there in KC. When we started off this morning, the Chiefs are still going to be top 2, top 3 seed in the AFC, even with how good it is right now.
But. And I was thinking about that yesterday because I kept seeing, people put out, are the Chiefs still, should they be considered the favorites in the AFC West? And I was like, 100%.
Right.
You have Patrick Mahomes, you have Andy Reid, you have Travis Kelce, and I probably in my mind thought of Tyreek Hill. You should be the favorites. And now I don't know. The Chargers are very good. The Broncos are very good. The Raiders, who I was thinking about too, I mean, their defense was already really good. They had Chandler Jones, which gets completely overlooked by the fact they added the best wide receiver in football. Like, that team's going to be very good, too. So, I don't even know what to think about that. Let me ask you this, guys, and callers, if you want to call up and tell us your answer to this question, 516-572-7440. Which move, whether it's a signing, whether it's a trade, is the most surprising to you guys so far this offseason?
I have to say two things. Just the way it happened and the way it's going to play out. Deshaun Watson. Yeah. Because we just said Tyreek Hill can't say it wasn't all about the money. Deshaun Watson can't see that either. Now, Deshaun Watson went to a much better situation in terms of winning next season.
Yes.
But the way he actually turned into a bidding war with the Falcons, the Saints, and then the Browns won out last minute. And then the way... Just as intriguing as the AFC West is, the AFC North is...
Just as good.
The reigning AFC champions in the Bengals. The Baltimore Ravens, who are going to be healthy and still have Lamar Jackson.
And they're getting completely disrespected by many people. My goodness. This is still a very good... I think they can win the division.
They could.
If Watson gets suspended or something...
And he will. I feel like he will.
Whether it's 4 games, 3 games, I think they're winning the division, the Ravens, next season.
Yeah, I would. One thing I don't doubt is Lamar Jackson. I mean, before all the injuries really hit them and hit him,
he was having an MVP caliber season.
He was carrying them. I remember that game against the Monday night game against Indianapolis. If you remember that, he won in overtime, I think.
Yes, the Colts blew that. Yes, the Colts blew the lead.
Unbelievable performance. That's what he was doing routinely. He beat Mahomes.
He's beating good teams. Yeah. That game against Mahomes is unbelievable too. And on top of it, we talk about Jackson and their offense. Their defense, their secondary is going to be healthier next year, and they added Marcus Williams.
And you still have a phenomenal coach in John Harbaugh. So Deshaun Watson just added a whole nother wrinkle to the AFC.
They're a very good team, the Ravens. The Browns, but you're going to a division with a loaded team in the Ravens. Ross, what about you? What's the most... Well, you gave the surprise. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is,
I would probably say Wilson going to Denver. That's shocking.
You thought he was going to stay?
I thought he'd stay, or he would go maybe somewhere where it's maybe a little bit more of a situation. I thought Rodgers would go to Denver because of the coach they brought in.
Right.
So it's actually kind of shocking Wilson goes there.
I thought Rodgers would go to Denver, and I thought Russell Wilson was coming to my team. That's what I was saying all offseason. It didn't happen, but
yeah,
that's crazy though. Like, I feel like that move, Ross, is being completely slept on with everything that's happened this offseason. Yeah,
but there was probably it was the first big trade that happened.
Yeah,
and it was the day of Aaron Rodgers saying he's returning to the Packers. You're right. That move is getting overlooked a little bit because of not only the moves that have been made all over the NFL, but it's been the moves that have been made in that division. I mean, then Khalil Mack gets traded there, and the Chargers signed to. Excuse me, I should say the Chargers. Khalil Mack gets traded to the Chargers. Then they go out and sign J.C. Jackson. Then Devontae Adams gets traded. And before that, Chandler Jones signs with the Raiders. So many moves have been made in that division. It is getting overlooked. I'm shocked he got traded to the Broncos. But I remember reading a couple of days before he got traded that they weren't going to trade him. And I didn't believe that for a second. So I'm not surprised he got traded. But the Broncos, I'm with you. I'm surprised he got traded to the Broncos. Well, I think the Rays are about to blow this lead in spring training here. We have a TV in the studio, which we are all very, very excited about. We've got a meaningless spring training game between the Rays and the Braves. So we're watching that.
Yes.
But having a TV in here is going to be nice for baseball season.
We'll see if this no name at the plate right now can get it done.
If he could tie the game here. But anyway.
Very nice addition. I will say that.
It could be a little distracting, but I think we'll be good. I think that's enough football. I was going to talk about the Jets and the Giants draft. We have so much time to talk about that.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other things I do want to get to in Major League Baseball and the NBA. But Malik Willis's draft stock, which, again, I'm sure we'll talk about, the way it's risen has kind of shocked me a little bit. He had his pro day, which means absolutely nothing. I mean, the throw that he made off of his back foot, I don't know if you guys saw it. It was impressive. Yeah. We talked about it yesterday, and we also brought up Zach Wilson. Like, it means nothing. Yeah. Him throwing in shorts, no shoulder pads, nobody coming after him, it means nothing. Sure, he looks impressive, but show it to me when you got pads on and, massive men running at you.
Right, yeah. I mean, I'm not totally shocked by that because, like we've spoken on before, there's always that one guy, that one quarterback, especially in like a quarterback light draft like this, that always climbs up the boards if he's athletic enough, if you have enough potential. So,
and Willis is an impressive guy. I mean, he's a very impressive athlete. We know about him already. We've seen him in college. That doesn't really shock me. We got a caller on the line. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
It's Zach from Hewlett.
What's up, Zach?
Hey, when Josh mentioned some of the other teams in the AFC West that are good, he didn't mention the Chargers. They had Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson. What, are you down on them still?
You know what, Zach? I will say this about your Chargers. I have to say I'm very impressed by what they did. They're doing exactly what you should do. When you have a young quarterback on a rookie deal, you got to go all in. So Khalil Mack, we'll see what he has left. He got a little hurt last year. We'll see if he comes back strong this year. J.C. Jackson is a fantastic pickup. But, again, is your coach going to keep going for it on 4th down and 2 from the 30-yard line? Like, I don't know.
Zach, the one thing...
All right, enough with the Brandon Staley hatred. All right, enough.
Zach, the one thing I'm a little nervous about is the money that was given to J.C. Jackson. He was unbelievable last season. Is that going to drop? Is that going to drop? It's going to drop, and the Braves tie the game in a meaningless spring training game. Wow. He's got to make that play. Somebody's got to make that play in left field. Excuse me. Sorry, Zach. We're watching a meaningless spring training
Fundamentals.
That's fine.
But, Zach, J.C. Jackson is a fantastic player, and he was last season, especially with the Patriots, and that's kind of my point. He's an undrafted free agent cornerback, and we've seen guys leave New England like this and go to other teams and not sign deals of this magnitude, but go and sign other contracts and it not work out for them. Are you a little nervous that J.C. Jackson may have been a product of Bill Belichick and that defensive system, or do you think he's just going to come to Los Angeles and be that guy that he was last season?
You make a very good point, actually. There is that problem with these players that get traded out of New England and they drop off. Same with these coaches that have been part of the Bill Belichick tree. It's difficult. It's kind of tough for me to say because, I've seen him in New England. I don't know. I'm hoping that he can translate on the field in LA, and hopefully that'll happen. I'm going to be the optimist here, and I'll say that he will.
I'm going to agree with you. He was so great last season. The last 2 years, he really has. I think he leads the league in interceptions for the past 2 seasons. But I could see somebody saying, oh, maybe that's a little too much money for a guy that is coming from the Belichick tree, the system that, has been very, very nice to defensive players over there, especially cornerbacks. Right now, Zach, I know you're very happy about the Tyreek Hill news. Very quickly before we hang up, right now, who would you say the favorite is in the AFC West?
To be honest with you, this may be a little bit of a hot take here, but I'm going to say the Broncos.
Okay. That's not a hot take. I want somebody to say the Raiders. For whatever reason, I do.
Okay, so before this Tyreek stuff happened, like I said, I would have said the Chiefs.
100%, so would have I.
I absolutely love what the Raiders did this offseason. Like, from coach to the defense to getting Devontae Adams, pairing him with Derek Carr again. They're going to play again since Fresno State. So.
People are forgetting about how good Hunter Renfrow was last season. This is a great team. Thank you for the call, Zach. We appreciate it. They have a really good team. They do. But let's move off of the NFL. We have other things to do, including Major League Baseball. You are listening to WHPC Sports Talk here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I am Michael Merlo, along with Ross Levine and Joshua Umahi. 516-572-7440 is the number to join. Please, we're talking about baseball next and the NBA right after that. But right now we're going to talk about Jacob deGrom, because whenever you get the chance to talk about him, whenever he toes the slab, as some like to call it, he should be talked about. He did make his spring training debut last night. It's the first time he's pitched since July 8th against the Brewers. He was unbelievable. I mean, in 2 innings, he strikes out 5 batters, gives up 1 hit. He reached 99 miles per hour on a few pitches. He was off the charts yesterday.
Yeah, he was great. I don't think there's all that big of concerns over Jacob deGrom. It's always going to come down to health. That's a big thing. And look, I do think he's going to be really good. I say all the time, it's a matter of can the bullpen close games for him, and can they score runs for him? That's the key. We're
going to talk about that in 1 second. You're right. His injuries are a massive concern. It's what worries me. And if he's going to be able to stay healthy, if he stays healthy, he's going to put up historic numbers. We saw it last season. In the 15 starts he made, he had a 1.08 ERA.
Yeah, and he had like a half ERA for probably like 12 of those. 13? Yeah.
So this guy, if he is healthy, is going to win the NL Cy Young. There's nobody that's better than him. And as Mets fans, we just have to sit there and pray a little bit. But anytime you have the chance to watch this guy, and we said it last season, and we're going to keep saying it again, and Gary, Keith, and Ron illustrated it perfectly last night, that whenever he pitches, it's a must-watch TV, and you can't take it for granted. He's that good that you have to watch him whenever you can. If you have the ability to do so, watch him, and don't ever take it for granted. Feel blessed that you get to watch this guy every 5th day, and hopefully he is blessed enough to not get hurt and pitch every 5 days.
They, SNY, and I told you guys this yesterday, they showed a shot of deGrom and Scherzer just chatting it up in the dugout.
This was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was just like, everything just sunk in. Like, these guys are really going to be our 1-2 punch this season. It's
I put it in my Instagram story. I was like, I still can't believe this is
unbelievable.
Real.
Unbelievable.
And apparently they were talking before deGrom went out there for, I think, his 2nd inning of work. And if you really follow it, deGrom really only uses 2 to 3 pitches. He uses his fastball, his slider, and then he mixes in the changeup a little bit. He has a 2-seam fastball, and he has a curveball, but he doesn't throw them, specifically the curveball. I think he threw the curveball all of 3 times last season in 15 starts. And I guess Scherzer was talking to him, and he's like, throw it. just throw it. And he threw it. He threw it right in there on the first pitch. And, of course, it looked great. And it was, faster than most people can throw their curveball. But I just find that really funny. I cannot wait to just watch them interact all season long. I still can't believe Max Scherzer's a Met.
It's really unbelievable. I mean, we look at the Mets offseason in totality. Obviously, Scherzer was the big move. Again, I've said it on this show. I would have liked to see them get a big bat, but when you have guys like Chris Bryant you're unsure about with his swing, Carlos Correa unsure about with his, I think he has back issues. Javi Baez, you didn't know whether he was just playing well in the contract year when you got him over. I mean, I'm disappointed in the fact that I didn't get another bat, and again, their choices weren't really as sure as you would have liked. But this is a really, really good roster they've put together.
I agree, and I'm starting to come around on the fact that maybe it would have been nice to grab a Kyle Schwarber. I just don't know. Well, I agree with that. It would have been nice to have a Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
I just don't know where you're putting him.
Right.
I don't think they wanted to, the Mets at all, have the DH spot delegated to just one person. They didn't want to hold it up. They didn't want to lock up the designated hitter spot, kind of like the Phillies are going to have to do now with Schwarber. But Ross, I understand. We went at it on Monday about their offense and how you don't think it's going to be good enough, and I guess I'm just getting my anxieties coming in now because I'm starting to get nervous about it because I think they do have an all-world pitching staff. I think this is going to be one of the best pitching rotations in the league, but they're going to have to hit.
Yeah,
and I don't know if they have enough.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's been an issue from this team for years. That they haven't really found that hitter, that a couple of hitters to push them over the top. Like, yes, you were able to make the trade for Baez, you were able to make a trade for Cespedes when you made it to the World Series, but other than that, they have not really found that major top tier bat, and that's. Whether that's because they don't want to come to the Mets, whether the Mets can't, don't want to sign those guys, I don't know. But that's been a big problem, and that's why you do have concerns with this offense, especially when they were ranked 28th in baseball or whatever they were last season in runs. And it all comes down to not getting the big hit. That's a big problem.
They got the guys on base, they just couldn't get them.
Oh, yeah.
They were terrible runners in scoring position last season.
It was an epidemic last season. I mean, the only thing I can say for the Mets offense, if their new hitting coach teach them how to how to hit a curveball,
oh yeah,
hit a 12-6 curveball, they'll be much better. But again, that's the concern. It's always been the story with the Mets. I mean, Ross, like you said, as far back as 2015, it's been they'll get them on base, they can't drive them in. Runners in scoring position has been
I know. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, that's like the second pandemic for the Mets.
It was the offense was, as you said, it was the run scoring position's been bad for years. It's been honestly a disaster. As of late. It does and look and. This is what you hope you do not hear more times than not.
Right. Is
that a guy comes in Citi Field or wherever you play him, a guy has a 70 ERA and you score one run. I can't. And then the guy said, Keith, Ron, whatever, says like that pitcher they have really good stuff. No, I don't want to hear that nonsense. That's nonsense.
The blatant lie.
Yeah, like they have that for a reason. Hit the guy.
You see,
it's nonsense to me.
You see, he's on the screen right now.
Stroman walks the guy and he gives up a run the first inning.
That's what he did?
Yeah. Great job, Stroman.
He's 33 pitches right now into the second inning.
They're wearing him out in spring training?
Great job. Great job. Great job.
He got his ground ball. Without that, he's nothing.
Come on, Stro. You got to give me better than that.
Great job. He doesn't like it there in Chicago either. Great job.
He's gonna be unhappy after 2 months. And the Cub fans are gonna say, "Why is this guy turning on me? We did nothing."
Yeah, and then he'll block half the population of Chicago after that too.
Exactly. I hope he gets rocked. I hope he gives up a 2-run shot right now and they have to take him out. And I hope he has a bad year, a really bad year. But anyway, enough of Marcus Stroman. Ross, I think somebody that gets overlooked, and I don't know the reason why. I cannot tell you the reason why. Is Pete Alonso.
Oh no, I have faith in him.
He was fantastic last season.
Yeah,
37 home runs, 860 over an 860 OPS.
Yeah, no, he was great. You're going to get 30-something home runs from him every year. It's a matter of it's not his fault. You would like it to be multiple 2-run homer, 3-run home, not solo home run.
Yes.
Not his fault, but it just
got to be with guys on base. You got to do things with guys on base, and that's the problem with this team. They don't do much with guys on base.
It's mental.
It's got to be.
I mean, and that's where the hitting coach comes in. Hopefully,
Right.
that's where the hitting coach comes in.
And that change in the middle of the season last year was not good for them because they brought a whole different philosophy. And this is where Cohen and whoever was making that decision, I don't know how much, I shouldn't say Steve Cohen, I don't know how much influence he had.
Davis, they had no connection.
But Chili Davis shouldn't have been the hitting coach then. They should have let him go, right? You brought in new people and you kept on Luis Rojas. But if the new front office and Sandy Alderson felt strongly about that, then they should have just let Chili Davis go. It's not like Luis Rojas was coming back for his second season last year because he was, sent from God. He wasn't this all-world manager. Yeah. If you wanted to make changes to his staff because you seriously believed in something, you should have done it, and you screwed your players.
I mean, but here's the thing, though. This is the problem. They were bad with Chili Davis. They were bad without Chili Davis.
But I felt like they were going to come around with Chili Davis.
I think the way it looked, like what happened. Remember that time when Dominic Smith, the whole Jose Alvarado thing, where he strikes out, and that whole thing after that, and then they get shoved by the Red Sox. The Red Sox had no pitching at that time. At that point, it was embarrassing enough where I think you need a fresh start. It was too late. But I think it was just that embarrassing. And you heard the rumors that they were not on the same page, not the same philosophies. Unfortunately, these guys, didn't matter what the philosophy was last year, it didn't work.
But they weren't on the same page with the new guy. The new guy, Hugh Quettlebaum, whatever his name was big time into analytics. And Chili Davis was too, but not as much. And all this information being thrown at these players, it's been reported now. It was crazy. Some of these guys were lost at the plate because they didn't know what their approach was.
And it reflected in the stats, too. I mean, Jeff McNeil had a down year.
And that was the report. Yeah. It affected guys like Jeff McNeil the most.
Dom Smith, too.
I know a lot of people are like, McNeil had just an unlucky season. I get it.
I don't want to hear that, though.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that either. That's nonsense. He struck out a lot, too.
He may have had an unlucky season, but that's baseball. And he could have an unlucky season where his first 2 years were lucky. Yeah. No, of course not.
Yeah, I don't buy it. Look, when you're averages like that, you have to take accountability for that. When you strike out a lot, that's unlucky. And look, I would have moved McNeil. That's just me. But I understand why now they kept him. You lose Baez. I guess you have no choice.
If you kept Baez, then maybe you move off of McNeil. I think they're confident in the fact that McNeil's going to bounce back. And they didn't want McNeil to bounce back, hit 300, and have an 850 OPS with another team, no matter what team they traded him to.
But are they confident because they like him or they don't want to raise the trade stock up? I think it's a little more of raise the trade stock. Because they were trying to move these guys. They were trying to move McNeil. They tried to move Davis. They tried to move Dom Smith. They couldn't find any takers. And now it's like, oh, well, now we're stuck with him. Hopefully he's good.
Well, I don't think they went out there looking to – I mean, that was the report during the lockout.
Yeah.
But I don't think they went out there saying, we have to trade these guys.
No, but, I don't think they're, in love with them.
I agree with you, especially J.D. Davis. They've been trying to move Davis since – Sandy Alderson and his people have been trying to move Davis since they got here.
Yeah.
We got a caller on the line. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Dave, and I'm actually calling you from Manhattan Beach, California.
What's going on, Dave? How's the weather down there? Over there,
it's only 80. Yeah, it's 80, 85. It's nice.
Oh,
This man says only 80.
Only 80. It's freezing cold today over here.
I did 64 years in New York, so I really don't miss it. I'm sorry, but you got to make your money somewhere, right? And then after that, you retire.
Well, it sounds like you're tired of a nice place. What's going on?
What's your opinion on the Ohtani rule coming up, being voted on next week?
Yeah, no, that's not voted on. That's in place, and I was going to get to that in a minute, but we can talk about it now. So there's a couple of new rules for this year. Starting for just April, they're going to have 28-man rosters. They're going to have the ghost runner, where in the 10th inning, a runner starts on second base. That's coming back for this year. And then what Dave's talking about, the Ohtani rule. So now there's a DH in every league, in both leagues, Ohtani is pitching, and they also have him at DH or whatever, or he's hitting. He could just, when he's done out of the game, he can go into the DH spot. So essentially, he's a DH, and if they take him out of the game as a starting pitcher, he just stays a DH.
Yeah, I mean, this is baseball, bending over for one of their senior, no. I mean, one of their senior owners, Artie Moreno.
Yeah,
he's terrible.
They got to throw the senior men a bone every now and then. And it's only going to affect one player because I don't see any other two-way players in Major League Baseball right now.
Do you think this could be a situation where they encourage other players to be two-way players, and it's easier for guys to pitch and hit at the same time? I don't know. I didn't think of it like that, where they were just throwing the Angels and Ohtani a bone here. But now that you mention it, it kind of is. You don't get screwed out of taking Ohtani out of a game. You could just take him out of the game, and he's still hitting, and you still have his MVP caliber bat in the lineup. That's something to think about for sure. Let me ask you, Dave, what do you think of the Ghost Runner coming back?
With the fact that you have on doubleheaders, you're going to have 9-inning games. I think it might actually be a necessity. I don't like it, of course. I mean, again, I used to umpire all the time, and believe it or not, when the ladies would go into extra innings, they would start their runner, and this is what I don't understand about Major League Baseball. They would start their runner off first base, and essentially, force the next batter to either to sacrifice, and then your runner at second base would be they were one out, so you would force the offense to. Well, maybe a defensive error, but you would force the offense to drive the run home. I mean, the fact that you have a runner on second base, all you need is a push bunt to the right-hand side. And with, and again, your runner's on third, and then the ridiculous starts. Let's walk this guy, let's walk that guy, and, wait for the weak hitter to come up. It's just, like I said, they're pushing too many buttons. But the fact that then, they're going to limit you to 13 pitches, you basically need something like that just to preserve the quality of the game, unless you want right fielders and left fielders pitching your 12th and 13th innings.
I happen to agree with I agree with you that if you start him on first base, that's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot stand the fact that this rule is back. This rule is terrible. And sure, it's exciting, at times, and sure, it is, it might make the manager think more and have to strategize a little more. But at the end of the day, you're basically, I don't even know what the word is. You're not just giving away the game, but you're making it too easy.
You don't deserve the run. You just don't.
Yeah.
You don't deserve, you hit the baseball. I mean, I understand they want to make it a little more like a small ball. You bunt, you get a sac fly, get a run, but you didn't deserve it. You gotta get a double first to get that run. So I don't get it.
You don't need a hit. You literally do not need a hit.
You don't need a hit. And honestly, it's also it could make the game longer too. One run. It's the same thing.
It's a gimmick.
Yeah,
very gimmicky.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is when you start somebody off first base, and again you're the home team. Say it's obviously the visiting team with a runner on first. The next guy grounds into a double play. You as the home team are licking your chops, saying, "Hey, we're going to get out of this, and plus we're going to start with somebody on first base."
I also feel like if you start them on first base, Ross, you brought up the fact that maybe they're playing a little more small ball. If you start them on first base instead, maybe you're really playing even more small ball. Maybe you are more inclined to try and move that guy over. Maybe if you have a righty at the plate, you're going to try and hit and run, and you're going to try and have that batter hit the ball to the right side. Now you have first and third.
Yeah,
so
it does make sense.
I feel like there's a little more strategizing with the runner on first instead. And thank you for the call, Dave. You got anything else or no? You good?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, and I was doing a little bit of reading. Less than half of the Phillies are vaccinated. So what happens when the Phillies come into New York?
They can play.
They can play.
Goodness.
Unvaccinated people can come to New York and play, whether it's basketball, whether it's baseball. If you are unvaccinated and you play for one of the New York teams, you cannot play in home games. Tell me how it makes sense.
Okay, but then, well, I misinterpreted the fact that, Philly being half vaccinated, they would lose half their roster when they came to New York.
No,
Again, you clarified it for me.
Yeah, though they won't lose half of their roster. Only the Mets will. I think
the way you're thinking about it, Dave, is how it's supposed to be enforced. If you're going to have a vaccine mandate, have it be for everybody, not just New York residents. So you're not wrong in your thinking.
That's the logical sense. That's the way it does make sense. That's the way science would have it make sense. But no. Yep. We don't follow science here in this country. We just do things because some people are going to like it.
Yeah, and then we put the face diapers on. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but my last question for all of you is, why does it take longer to run from second to third than any other two bases?
Second to third. Do you know the answer?
I do.
Second to third than any other base.
I got no clue.
There's a shortstop in the middle.
Thank you for the call, Dave. We appreciate it. That's funny. I was seriously trying to think of reasons as to why it is. Like, is there any science behind that?
I was thinking the same thing. Like,
you can't over on the base. Maybe you're slowing down a little bit more, which is probably one of the reasons why.
Yeah.
But that's funny. Good call. Good call.
Yes.
Yeah. So that vaccine mandate. That's still. I mean. I was listening to Michael Kay yesterday or the other day, and the people he talked to, within the Yankees organization and within baseball, are very confident that there will be no issues with the Mets and the Yankees. Now, he doesn't know whether or not it's because the Mets and the Yankees who aren't vaccinated are just going to get the shot, or if Major League Baseball is going to step in and say, we're not following the rules, so we're going to allow, or the state guidelines, we're going to allow our teams to pay whatever fines, like Adam Silver is not letting the Nets do with Kyrie, or they just seem confident that the mayor's going to change it, which I don't know how they could at this point, because I don't think he is.
It's so, I mean, it's good that they have faith that the unvaccinated players on the Mets and Yankees are going to get to play.
Not even faith, like just confident that there's going to be no issues.
I don't know. I mean, I see how it's affected this whole NBA season with our local teams. Well, really one local team and one player. But I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I'm just gonna let things play out, and we'll see if some sense is injected into this. And it's not looking good right now.
The funny thing about Kyrie, this would be a perfect segue into basketball. Kyrie is like the poster boy for the unvaccinated at this point in the mandates when it comes. You know, especially when you look at the NBA, I mean, he's one of the only guys we know of that's not vaccinated. Now, baseball, I feel like you're not going to have guys that are going to want to step up and say, "Oh, I'm going to be this voice for the voiceless or whatever."
Right.
I don't know. It makes no sense to me, because he can be against all these mandates and be against all of the work vaccine mandates and still get the shot.
Yeah.
Like, he can get the shot and then protest with these people and do what he's got to do to help these people that lost their jobs.
That's very true.
But he's just an idiot. and I'm kind of on his side because the rule's idiotic. Yeah. But he can do both. He can play both sides.
It's such a captivating argument because, again, the rule is dumb, but at the same time, you can get a shot that millions of people have gotten
and just fix all your problems.
Just play. So
and also, I think one of the reasons why I think there's a better chance that the players on the Mets and the Yankees get vaccinated than Mayor Adams make the rule change, because I don't think you're going to see guys I don't think baseball players have that same mentality as Kyrie Irving or just other basketball players, where they're going to have to make this national statement. Oh, I want to do this and I feel this strongly about it. I think they'll probably just get vaccinated.
I tend to agree. NBA players definitely have bigger personalities.
Oh, 100%.
Baseball players tend to be more nondescript, so I can definitely see that, but it's just a maddening thing to keep talking about.
I know. I wish we didn't have to talk about it. And also, watch, they'll find a way to make it okay for outdoor sports to play, but Kyrie Irving will suffer, which would kind of be funny.
That's the other maddening part about it. Baseball is outdoors. It's not indoors like basketball, where there's a higher chance to get the virus or transfer the virus to somebody else. It's outside.
It's also as if they're not together right now for the last month or so in spring in Florida with each other, and they can go out after. The problem is there's no science behind it, but guess what? We're not going to get into it. The Rams are loading up again. Sources say the 6-time Pro Bowler, Bobby Wagner, 6-time All-Pro, Bobby Wagner is visiting them, and there's mutual interest in doing a deal. Holy cow. That would be huge.
Okay, so I'm starting to agree with you guys with this whole cap space thing.
Doesn't make sense.
The the Rams getting this money from?
Nope. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean a single
Bobby Wagner. Okay.
You are listening. What's up?
If they get Bobby Wagner and like Aaron Donald comes back and wow.
That's something.
Okay.
Maybe Aaron Donald will be happy with that one.
Yeah,
if I told you 3 years ago those two guys would be on the same team,
boy.
you'd say, "Oh my God!"
It's like L.A. with the Lakers too. The Lakers like failed at it, but L.A. is like a big like if you're a big star, you're kind of on the twilight of your career. Pull up to L.A. with other like guys in the twilight of their career. Maybe we can get a super team going. We can see what we can do. Work for the Rams. Didn't work so well for the Lakers. So we'll see what happens.
Maybe it'll continue to work for the Rams. You are listening to WHPC Sports Talk here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Michael Merlo, Ross Levine, and Joshua Umahi here with you. Let's talk about a little NBA. The Knicks lost last night to the Hawks. Trae Young, 45 yesterday?
45.
Trae Young comes in and stabs the hearts of all Knicks fans. The Knicks played well.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's good for the tank.
Yes,
it really
it
is. It is good for the tank. Let's be honest. I mean, did he really even have to break our hearts? I mean, if anything for the future, maybe it's actually the best thing for this franchise is losing.
But the fans there, you know.
Yeah, but come on. You're going to win a game that you know you're going to be out of it in the next couple of weeks.
They hate Trae Young.
I understand that, but it's like, at the same time, the Knicks deserve this. They do. They just do. Okay, and look, they did play good, and considering that they played pretty well without Julius Randle, that was great. That was just fantastic.
Yes,
I want Randle out of here. That just proved that he needs to be out of here, and even more so, probably that whole thing with Rudy Gobert was ridiculous.
I referenced it on Monday, and I'm like, it can't ever just be a regular thing with the Knicks, especially in losses. So you have to have Julius Randle make a whole debacle with Rudy Gobert and have this whole fake scuffle go on after, like, what? Why?
Yeah, like the game is over. There's no point. And again, it's like supposedly it was because he got upset with the official. It was more of that something, but still, like
he's an embarrassment.
He is.
Yeah, you're putting it on Rudy Gobert. Like, how is it his fault? You're not very good. Your team is not very good. How is that his fault that the referees are not on your side? They're not on your side because guess what? You're an idiot.
You know, as Giants fans, I think you guys will appreciate where I'm coming from. So there was a report, I think 2 weeks ago, that Tibbs is pretty much guaranteed to come back.
Yes.
Right. But there was a similar report with Joe Judge.
Yeah, but I kind of buy into this a little bit more.
I buy into it too, but at the same time, if you're Tom Thibodeau and you're watching this guy and Trae Young is just killing Alec Burks and Evan Fournier, when we have more capable defenders, we have Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah,
we have Deuce McBride, who we never play. We have what's his name, Quentin Grimes.
Yes.
So you're letting Burks and Fournier get torched by this guy who ended your season last year. Like, can you have a little more pride in your game plan? And then this is the most maddening thing, like switching Taj Gibson. Do we know how old Taj Gibson is?
He's like 37.
He might be older than that, but we're switching him on to Trae Young, which we did in the playoffs last year, and that didn't work. We got torched. Well, guess what? We got torched again yesterday. So it's like he's doing these things, and it's like he doesn't know how to read game situations. He's very stubborn. He's going to stick with his veterans when we have more capable guys that are younger, fresher.
Well, it's just he is playing Jericho Sims a lot more.
He is.
So, I mean, he's playing more young guys, I would say.
But Ross, why did it have to take? Because I don't know about other Knicks fans, but I was screaming, like, get Jericho Sims out there, get Quentin Grimes, Deuce McBride, who's killing it in the G League, and I know it's the G League. It's it's a step below the NBA, but he's still killing it. He's 30-10 in the G League.
Well, he's played in the he has played in the NBA, not a ton of minutes, but he has played in the NBA here and there. He doesn't look comfortable. He's basically like a 5 against 4.
He doesn't look comfortable offensively, I'll give you that. But if you're watching Trae Young, of all people, as a Knicks fan just watching yesterday, and I say this, I'm like, I've given up on the season. I have very little hope, but we saw how we started the game yesterday. RJ is cooking. We're beating the Hawks. I'm like, sweeping the Hawks would be a little, like, solace. One piece of solace from the season. And Tibbs just... I don't know if I can say that, but you're a fan.
You're a fan. You want to win games, especially against rivals. I mean, even when the Mets were bad, bad late in the season last year. I want them to beat their rivals.
Yes.
I want them to beat the Yankees. That game in which Lindor hit 3 home runs against them was great.
Yeah.
It was a great moment, probably the best moment of the season.
It's
so, of course, you want the Knicks to beat Trae Young, who came into your building and torched you guys last year and eliminated you from the postseason. Of course you want that to happen.
Because we have so much pride as Knicks fans. If you're a
Fans
fan
in
of
general.
fans of New York sports teams especially. Like, you don't want to see a guy come in, shush the crowd, take bows, ending your season. You want to beat that guy when you get another chance at him.
Yeah.
And the fact that we just let him go off. Let him go off. We didn't challenge him in any way. Evan Fournier was guarding him for chunks of the game. Evan Fournier. What are we doing?
I really think, look, I don't know how long Tom will be back next year, because that's the thing too, right? Even if he's back, you don't know how long he's going to be back for. Maybe it's back till like midway point of the year, and then they decide to make a change. To me, it's too late at that stage, just because, again, if you're going to move on from a coach, you do it at the end of the season, just because you let your next coach have your own game plan, build his own system. And look, I will say this, and this is probably why they're going to keep him. They do play hard for him. They do. They play tough in a way. I mean, they're still in close games against better teams. They were in that game against Utah. They were in that game against the Hawks. They've been in game. They've very rarely gotten blown out, where it's like you're going to fire the coach.
I'll say this, they do play hard for him. I think that's kind of like bare minimum stuff from a coach. But at the same time, you get your players to play hard, but if you're screwing it away with bad rotations and questionable decisions, like, how much does it really matter?
They don't have the players.
But they don't see, that's the thing. They don't have the players. They, like, when they lost that game to Memphis, when they blew that game in the fourth quarter, I think that just came down to talent. They don't have a John Moran on their roster. So that's, and again, in the fourth quarter, when you don't have a point guard, it's going to come back to haunt you at some point.
I do want to have this argument with you, Josh, another day. We don't have time right now.
Okay.
I was looking through R.J. Barrett's stats, especially his player efficiency rating, and R.J.'s had a good season. He has. He's improved.
Yeah.
But his PER, as they like to call it,
good.
You know where it ranks?
Like bottom 5.
184th in the league.
Boy.
He's not an efficient player. So, yes, he's a young kid, and he's been playing better. And, again, this is a debate for another day.
Right.
He's not an efficient guy, and he's averaging 19 points. He's improved, but this isn't good.
He's 21 years old. You got to give him a chance. And he's learning how to be a number one player on a really bad team.
I'm not giving up on him. I wouldn't give up on him.
I think he's going to be really good.
I think he's going to be good, too.
Yeah.
But outside of Barrett, are there any players here to look forward to? Obi Toppin, I think, is proving now that he is not have it. I would not be happy or excited about Obi Toppin.
I'd be happy with Quentin Grimes.
Quentin Grimes has played well.
That's fine. But I want legitimate players. Grimes could be a nice 3-point shooter.
Jericho Sims.
How good do you feel about Jericho Sims?
What?
I actually like him.
We'll definitely talk about this another day. It's just this Tibbs thing. It's basically how long Leon Rose is going to be okay with him being, what do I call it? His
Well, it's his guy. That's his guy.
Yeah, it's like a shield from criticism.
Right.
Well, he hired him. He doesn't want to pay him when he gets fired, and that's the big thing. And I think also if they're going to both get fired, you rather both be fired, not one.
Yeah, Leon Rose has a huge summer ahead of him.
Yes.
I'll agree with you. I think there's more talent than what you're giving credit for, but we'll see. He's got work to do.
That's going to do it for us. Thank you for listening to WHPC Sports Talk. For Michael Merlo, Ross Levine, and Joshua Umahi, I should say for Ross Levine and Joshua Umahi, I am Michael Merlo, here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.